Hello everyone, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. As you can tell by the title, this video is going to be about the fan war between WWE Supermarks and AEW Supermarks and why all this unnecessary arguing, trolling and outright just annoying stuff keeps happening all over Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you may choose to do your social mediaing stuff. So this is the fan war between WWE and AEW. Now, if you have come across me on Twitter, you will see that I am a bit pro WWE and anti AEW. Now, I didn't want to be like this. I was trying my hardest to be neutral, to be unbiased, and just try to enjoy both companies. But over a period of time, the supermarks of AEW have pushed me away, along with some of the nonsense I see on AEW and from the AEW talents or higher ups online. So let's talk about why the fans turn on AEW. We'll start off with the creation of AEW. Now, as we all know, back in day, Vince McMahon was running WWE and he was doing a shit job. He would fire people for no reason, give us ridiculous storylines and bury talents that were aspiring and primarily picked to be top guys like FTR, Rusev, Andrade, Bray Wyatt, who's now back but not helping himself at the minute, and so many more. Vince McMahon has just taken them, got bored with them and buried them and then released them. So when talks of a new company were getting up there, we heard news that Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks met with a billionaire to start a company called All Elite Wrestling. Now everyone was excited, everyone was happy, everyone was rejoicing for something different that isn't Vince McMahon's horribleness and Impact Wrestling's midness. If you're a fan of Impact, I'm very sorry, but I don't like Impact. So where do we go from here? AEW starts up unofficially with All In, the Woodstock of wrestling, as they called it. I think that's what they called it, where everyone who wasn't signed to WWE just did a pay-per-view show, and it was a grand success, all run by Cody Rhodes. Roughly a year after that was the creation of AEW, the signing of Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, and so many others, and they was doing pretty fucking good at that point until the pandemic era, where all wrestling was pretty shit. And to be honest, I didn't stick through most of the pandemic era because watching wrestling without fans is like watching paint dry. So after all the praise and success, we get into 2021. AEW Tony Khan are signing released WWE's talents such as Andrade, Miro, Aleister Black, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews or Buddy Murphy, and many more to 3-year deals with the company, and everyone was excited to see them. And then the best signing they could ever do, a history-making signing for All Elite Wrestling, CM Punk signed with them in September of 2021. Now things were going great, everything was looking good for All Elite Wrestling, and everything was looking shit for WWE. But as the year changed into 2022, things started to go really downhill. All of these newly signed talents that were released by WWE were being seen less frequently on TV, especially Miro, who hasn't wrestled now for pretty much a full year. Andrade was not happy with how he was being portrayed on TV. Malachi Black, same thing. Buddy Matthews, same thing. Now, a couple of them have claimed to debunk all of these rumours, but you're gonna say that when your boss is telling you to. This is my opinion, by the way. I'm not saying this is factual. I just think that's what's happened. Storylines were decreasing in intensity, and it was just becoming about, this guy's a good wrestler, this guy is a good wrestler, let's have them wrestle and call it a day. That is not how you want to book weekly television on Dynamite, and especially Rampage. We'll get into Rampage in a minute. Now, as for Rampage, AEW and Tony Khan wanted that to be a competitor for SmackDown, as they were on the same day, different time slots, but the same day, and they wanted to try and be controversial with it and try and say it's the competition for SmackDown. Now, at first, that could have been the case, because one of the first Rampage episodes was CM Punk's debut, which sparked a lot of viewership, and even I stayed up until 4 in the morning just to watch CM Punk's return. While all this declining product is happening over at AEW, over at WWE, Vince McMahon officially retires and Triple H takes over WWE Creative, which was a big shift in fan trajectory, especially for myself. And we got a great SummerSlam from Triple H, we got Clash at the Castle, which was great, and then to finish that weekend off, the Clash weekend, we got All Out from AEW, which the most talked about thing from that show was after the show when CM Punk buried the company, buried the EVPs, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and had a backstage fight with them. Don't worry, I'm not going to waste your time with all the information about Punk and the Elite, because we've heard enough about that from the dirt sheet knobheads. So after that, things were going even more downhill for AEW. Andrade and Sammy Guevara had a backstage fight, and so much more. Tony Khan being unprofessional, most recently calling out Ariel Helwani because he happened to be on SmackDown, because SmackDown was in Canada. Oh, and guess what? He's Canadian. Never would have guessed that. Adding on to the fact that AEW is mostly now just full of unnecessary blading and pointless matches. Can anyone please explain to me why we need to see blood every week? Because I'm seeing a ton of pro AEWs who are saying, it's blood. Everyone wanted blood, now you've got it, you don't want it. Yes, we want blood, but we want blood in sensible situations. We don't want blood every single week. We don't want to see people with blood on their face in the opening match of a weekly TV show. That is not how you do it. I don't care if bleeding makes Jon Moxley relaxed, man. I don't give a shit. It's Jon Moxley ain't the boss. Tony Khan is the boss of AEW, but Tony Khan does not act like the boss of AEW because they're all his friends and he wants to keep them happy. And as much as a nice guy he is, he's very vulnerable and easy to manipulate. The ratings for AEW have gone down drastically. I think Rampage is now in the 400 to 300, maybe 200k mark, and as for Dynamite, well, this week, well, last week, they started off with just over 900k viewers and finished with less than 800k. They was close to hitting the 600 mark, which is very bad. The causes for these big viewership drops, and if you don't believe me, just go and look at the paperwork. The Elite and Chris Jericho and the women are the main ratings killers. And they're the ones, especially Jericho and the Elite, who are feeding Tony information and Tony let them do what they want. All of this and many, many more things to come are the reason why fans can't get along anymore. And yes, I'm as guilty as anyone. I have enough self-awareness to understand what I'm doing is trolling and And I do enjoy trolling the supermarks. I do. Because they are so delusional. It is hard to understand how these people work. When they're saying that the Bloodline story isn't good and the Golden Lovers were better than the Bloodline, you have to understand that these are the sort of people that either they're just there to troll and they don't actually think that, or they are that delusional that they belong in an asylum. I'm not even going to get into the whole elite thing and my dislike for them. I may save that for another video, but right now I'm focusing on the fans of the companies. Now, for me, I like good storylines with good matches, and all leads to goodness. WWE give me good storylines. Sometimes they've been consistent with the Bloodline. Everything else has felt a bit meh. But that's what we come to expect with WWE, but it isn't at the point where it's unwatchable. Now, as for AEW, they as I've said previously, they're blading in every match. I've not even got to the botches. Now, I'm not going to play them here, but the botches in AEW are extremely dangerous, and these people are not ready for TV. I don't want to play them here because of copyright strikes, so all you need to do is go to Twitter, type in All Elite Botches, and you'll find multiple compilations of people nearly paralysing themselves because of botched moves, and this is a weekly occurrence as well. It's not just like people come to me and they say, well, Big E broke his neck and nearly paralysed himself. Yes, that's one incident from a year ago. This happens in AEW every single week, multiple times per week. That's the difference, whether it's on Rampage, Dynamite or Dark. It happens on one of them at least every week. Now, as I said at the start of this video, I tried to be unbiased. Unfortunately, in this video, I've been quite biased, and that's not my fault. It isn't. It's just what AEW and the fans of AEW have led me to be. It's not the way I want to be. I don't want to be trolling people about Jon Moxley blading every week. I don't want to be trolling people about Tony Khan sniffing cocaine. I don't want to be doing those things. I want to enjoy AEW, and unfortunately I can't because of it's mostly because of the fans of AEW. What we all need to do is we all need to either learn to get along or ignore each other. Now, I know that's going to be quite hard, even for me, because when I see someone writing up a stupid comment on Twitter, I 9 times out of 10 I'm going to say something and I'm going to get loads of hate back from it, and that's fine. You can give me hate all you want, but at the end of the day, you're just people online. You do not affect my personal life whatsoever. Tony Khan himself has even said there is a war between WWE and AEW, which there really is not. The war is between the fans. There may be a war in Tony's head, but there isn't a war between the companies. It's between the fans, and we all need to learn to sort it out. Hopefully one day AEW can become something better, something that we can like, something that we can watch, and it isn't shut down by all the Kenny Omega and Young Bucks supermarks who try and throw ridiculous takes on Twitter, and then they make the company itself look bad. If you enjoyed this video, I know it's a bit long, I'm sorry, and you liked what you saw, hit the like button, please subscribe for more, and if you agree or disagree, let me know in them comments, because I love them comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.